The courtroom fell into a suffocating silence as the prosecutor slammed a manila folder onto the polished wooden table. Every eye in the packed Seoul District Court fixed on Jin-woo, the 30-year-old heir to the Jin Corporation empire, as he stood rigid in his custom Italian suit, his jaw clenched so tight it could shatter diamonds. The charges scrolled across the digital screens mounted on the walls: embezzlement of 50 billion won, fraud, breach of fiduciary duty. His entire legacy, 3 generations of his family's blood and sweat, about to crumble into dust. The prosecutor, a sharp-faced woman with silver-rimmed glasses, adjusted her microphone. "Your Honor, the evidence is irrefutable. Bank transfers, shell companies, falsified documents, all pointing to the defendant. Jin Corporation's shareholders have lost everything because of this man's greed." Jin-woo's lawyer, an expensive veteran who charged more per hour than most people earned in a month, shuffled his papers nervously. He had nothing. No counter-evidence, no witnesses, no miracle defense. The gallery behind them buzzed with whispers: journalists, investors, business rivals, all waiting to watch the golden boy fall. Before you dive deeper into this unbelievable story, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our next shocking family drama. Trust me, you'll want to see how this unfolds. Jin-woo's grandmother sat in the front row, her weathered hands clutching a jade prayer bracelet, tears streaming down her face. Beside her, his sister covered her mouth to stifle a sob. His fiancée Yuna, however, sat perfectly composed, her designer handbag resting on her lap, her expression carefully neutral. She had already started distancing herself the moment the scandal broke. Image was everything in their world. The judge, a stern man in his 60s with salt and pepper hair, adjusted his reading glasses. "Does the defense have anything to present before I deliver the verdict?" Jin-woo's lawyer stood slowly, defeat written across his sagging shoulders. "Your Honor, we..." "Wait." The voice rang out from the back of the courtroom, clear and commanding, slicing through the tension like a blade. Every head turned. There, standing in the gallery section reserved for family staff and domestic workers, was a woman in a plain black uniform, the kind worn by household help. Grace. The Jin family's housekeeper for the past 8 years. A black woman from Ghana who kept her eyes down, her voice soft, who moved through the mansion like a ghost, invisible and unremarkable. Except right now, there was nothing unremarkable about her. She walked down the center aisle with the confidence of someone who owned the room, her heels clicking against the marble floor. In her hands, she carried a leather portfolio. The court security moved to intercept her, but she spoke in flawless Korean, her accent barely perceptible. "I have evidence that will exonerate Jin-woo completely." Evidence the prosecution conveniently overlooked. The prosecutor shot her feet. "Your Honor, this is highly irregular. This woman has no standing in this court." "This woman," Grace interrupted, her dark eyes flashing, "has every right to present evidence in a case that affects her employer. Unless Korean law has changed since I studied it." A ripple of shock moved through the courtroom. "A maid who studied Korean law?" The judge leaned forward, intrigued despite himself. "Approach the bench." Grace moved forward, her posture straight, her movements deliberate. She placed the portfolio on the defense table and extracted a USB drive. "Your Honor, this contains financial records, security footage, and communication logs that prove Jin-woo was set up. The real embezzler is his cousin, Jin-ho, who has been systematically siphoning funds for the past 3 years while creating a digital trail that points to Jin-woo." The prosecutor's face flushed red. "Objection. We have no way to verify the authenticity of. The files are encrypted with blockchain verification," Grace continued smoothly. Timestamps, GPS data, and digital signatures are all intact. I've also included testimony from 7 employees at Jin Corporation who witnessed Jinho's activities but were too afraid to come forward. Additionally, I have security footage of Jinho accessing Jinwoo's office computer after hours, using a stolen keycard to plant falsified documents. The judge took the USB drive, his expression inscrutable. And how exactly did a housekeeper obtain this information? Grace's lips curved into the faintest smile. Because I'm not just a housekeeper, Your Honor. I graduated from Yonsei University with dual degrees in forensic accounting and corporate law. For the past 8 years, I've been conducting an independent investigation into irregularities in Jin Corporation's finances. When I discovered the embezzlement scheme, I spent 2 years gathering irrefutable evidence. The courtroom exploded into chaos. Journalists frantically typed on their phones. Investors shouted questions. Jinwoo stared at Grace as if seeing her for the first time, his mouth slightly open, his carefully maintained composure shattered. His grandmother gasped, clutching her chest. Even Yuna's mask slipped, her eyes widening in genuine shock. The judge banged his gavel repeatedly. Order! Order in this court! He looked at his clerk. Load these files immediately. This court is in recess for 2 hours while I review this evidence. As the judge retreated to his chambers, Grace turned to leave, but Jinwoo caught her wrist. His touch was gentle but desperate, his voice barely above a whisper. Grace, what, how? She met his eyes, and for just a moment, he saw something there: years of hidden pain, of swallowed pride, of a brilliant mind forced to play dumb. Your mother saved my life once, Jinwoo. I'm just returning the favor. Then she pulled away and walked out of the courtroom, leaving a stunned silence in her wake. The recess felt like an eternity. Jinwoo paced in the private conference room adjacent to the courtroom, his mind racing. Grace. His housekeeper. The woman who had served him breakfast every morning for 8 years, who had cleaned his room, who had bowed politely whenever he passed her in the hallway. She had a law degree from Yonsei, one of Korea's top universities, and she had been investigating his company this entire time. His lawyer burst through the door, his earlier defeat replaced with manic energy. Jinwoo. That evidence is solid. I mean, it's airtight. Whoever this woman is, she just saved your life. The judge is going to throw out the charges. There's no question. But Jinwoo wasn't listening. He was remembering fragments, little moments that suddenly made sense. The way Grace always seemed to be in the right place at the right time. How she once corrected his sister's English homework with perfect grammar. The time he found her reading a dense economics textbook in the kitchen at midnight, which she quickly hid when he entered. He had dismissed it all, never looking close enough to see. His grandmother entered the room, leaning heavily on her cane, his sister supporting her arm. The old woman's eyes were sharp despite her tears. That girl, she said in Korean, her voice trembling. Grace. Where is she? I don't know, grandmother. Find her. Immediately. I need to speak with her. Before Jinwoo could respond, the bailiff appeared. The judge is ready to deliver his verdict. They filed back into the courtroom. Grace had not returned. Her seat in the gallery remained empty. Jinwoo felt an inexplicable pang of loss, as if something precious had slipped through his fingers without him realizing its value. The judge entered, and the court rose. When everyone settled, the judge's expression was severe. After reviewing the evidence presented by Miss Grace Mensah, this court finds the defendant, Jinwoo, not guilty of all charges. Furthermore, I am ordering an immediate investigation into Jinho for embezzlement, fraud, and conspiracy. The evidence presented is compelling and warrants criminal prosecution." He banged his gavel. "This court is adjourned." The courtroom erupted again, but this time in celebration and confusion. Jinwoo's family surrounded him, his sister crying, his grandmother praying. His lawyer pumped his fist in victory. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. But Jinwoo pushed through them all, searching the crowd for one face. She was gone. Outside the courthouse, Yuna approached him, her practiced smile firmly in place. "Congratulations, darling. I knew you were innocent all along." She reached for his hand, but he pulled away. "Did you because you didn't visit me once during the investigation? You didn't answer my calls. You told your father to divest from Jin Corporation." Her smile faltered. "I was protecting my family's interests. Surely you understand." "I understand perfectly." Jinwoo's voice was cold. "We're done, Yuna. The engagement is off." He didn't wait for her response. He had more important things to do. If you're hooked on this story and want to see what happens next, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button. Drop a comment below telling us what you think Grace's real story is. We love hearing your theories. The Jin family mansion sat on a hill in Gangnam, a sprawling traditional Hanok estate with modern renovations, surrounded by manicured gardens and high walls that kept the world at bay. Jinwoo's driver pulled through the gates at sunset, and he barely waited for the car to stop before jumping out. He found Grace in the servants' quarters, a small building separate from the main house. She was packing her belongings into a worn suitcase: clothes, books, a laptop. She didn't look up when he entered, though he knew she had heard him. "You're leaving?" It wasn't a question. "My job here is done." Her voice was calm, matter of fact, as she folded a sweater. "Your job, Grace? You just saved my entire family from ruin. You presented evidence that a team of lawyers couldn't find. You've apparently been conducting a corporate investigation for 2 years. And you're acting like it's just another day of housework." She finally looked at him, and the directness of her gaze made him take a step back. "What did you expect, Jinwoo, that I would stay and continue pretending that I would go back to serving your breakfast and washing your clothes while you go back to forgetting I exist?" The words hit him like a physical blow. I didn't forget you. Didn't you?" She turned back to her packing. "In 8 years, how many conversations have we had, real conversations, where you actually looked at me as a person? 5-6 I was furniture to you. Convenient, functional, invisible. That's not fair." "Fair?" Grace laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You want to talk about fair? I graduated top of my class. I had job offers from major firms. I could have been anything. But your mother asked me to come here, to protect this family, and I agreed because I owed her everything. So I became a maid. I wore this uniform." She gestured at her plain black dress with disgust. "I bowed and smiled and stayed quiet while your friends made jokes about me, while your fiancé treated me like dirt, while you looked right through me every single day." Jinwoo felt shame burn through him, hot and acidic. She was right. God, she was right about all of it. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you say something? Would you have listened? Would any of you have believed that the black housekeeper from Ghana was actually qualified to advise your precious corporation? She zipped her suitcase with more force than necessary. "Your grandmother made it very clear when I arrived. I could stay, but only if I kept my education secret. She said the family's reputation couldn't handle having someone like me in a position of authority. Better to be useful from the shadows." The revelation hit Jinwoo like a freight train. His grandmother, the woman who had just been crying in court, grateful for Grace's intervention, she had orchestrated this. He thought of all the family dinners, all the meetings, all the decisions made in rooms Grace was never invited to enter except to serve tea. "I didn't know," he said quietly. "I swear I didn't know." "I know you didn't. That's what made it easier, in some ways. You weren't cruel, Jinwoo. You were just oblivious." She picked up her suitcase. "But I'm done being invisible. I'm done sacrificing my identity for a family that was ashamed to acknowledge what I actually am." She moved toward the door, but Jinwoo stepped into her path. "Wait. Please. Just wait." They stood inches apart, and for the first time, he really looked at her. Grace was beautiful. He had somehow never let himself notice that before. Her dark skin glowed in the evening light filtering through the window. Her eyes held intelligence and pain in equal measure. She was taller than he remembered, or maybe she had just stopped making herself small. "What do you want me to wait for?" she asked. "I want..." He struggled to find the words. "I want to apologize. I want to make this right. I want to understand why my mother asked you to come here in the first place. There's so much I don't know, and you're the only one who can tell me." Grace studied his face for a long moment. "Your mother never told you about Ghana." "Ghana, I know she traveled there before I was born, but she never talked about it much. She nearly died there, Jinwoo. During childbirth. She was pregnant with you, visiting on business, and she went into early labor. The hospital was overwhelmed, understaffed. She was hemorrhaging, and the doctors said there was nothing they could do." Grace's voice softened slightly. "My mother was the midwife who refused to give up. She stayed with your mother for 18 hours, fighting to keep both of you alive. When it was over, your mother held you in her arms and made my mother a promise that she would take care of her daughter the same way my mother had taken care of her child." Jinwoo felt his throat tighten. His mother had died 5 years ago, cancer taking her quickly and brutally. She had been the kindest person he knew, always helping others, always thinking of those less fortunate. But she had never told him this story. "When my mother got sick," Grace continued, "your mother brought me to Korea. She paid for my education, gave me opportunities I never could have dreamed of. And then, when she was diagnosed, she asked me to watch over her family. She knew something was wrong in the company. She had suspected Jinho for years but couldn't prove it. She asked me to find the truth and protect you. So you became a maid." "I became what I needed to be." Grace's eyes glistened, but she didn't let the tears fall. "Your mother was the only person in this country who saw me as an equal. After she died, I had no one. But I kept my promise." The weight of her sacrifice crushed down on Jinwoo. 8 years. 8 years of diminishing herself, of hiding her brilliance, of enduring casual racism and condescension, all to honor a promise to a dead woman. All to protect him. "Grace, I'm so sorry. For everything. For not seeing you. For not questioning why someone as capable as you would be content as a housekeeper. For..." He ran a hand through his hair, frustration and shame warring in his chest. "For being exactly the kind of privileged asshole who takes good people for granted." A ghost of a smile touched her lips. "At least you're self-aware now. Let me make it right. Please. Stay. Not as a housekeeper, never as that again. Come work at Jin Corporation officially. As our chief forensic officer, or whatever title you want. You've earned it 10 times over." Grace shook her head. "It's not about the title, Jinwoo. It's about respect. Your family made me hide because they were ashamed of what I represented. Do you think a promotion suddenly erases that? Do you think the board members who watched me serve them tea for years will suddenly accept me as an equal? This country, this society, they'll never let me be both black and powerful. I'll always have to choose. Then we'll change it. Together. You can't change centuries of prejudice with good intentions. Maybe not. But I can start by acknowledging it. By using my privilege to amplify your voice instead of silencing it. By making sure everyone knows that Jin Corporation wouldn't exist anymore if not for you. He took a breath. And by telling you something I should have said a long time ago. Grace raised an eyebrow. What? You're not invisible to me anymore. You never will be again. The air between them shifted, charged with something new and dangerous. Grace set down her suitcase slowly, her eyes never leaving his face. Jinwoo. I mean it. I see you, Grace. I see your strength, your intelligence, your sacrifice. I see the woman who saved me without expecting anything in return. And I see someone I've been too blind and stupid to appreciate. Don't do this, she whispered, but she didn't step back when he moved closer. Don't do what? Tell you the truth. Don't make this complicated. Don't make me hope for something that can't exist. You're the heir to a dynasty. You're the woman I should have noticed years ago. He reached up, his hand hovering near her face, giving her every opportunity to pull away. She didn't. His fingers brushed her cheek, and she closed her eyes, a shaky breath escaping her lips. This is a mistake, she said, but her voice lacked conviction. Probably the first smart mistake I've ever made. When he kissed her, it felt like falling and flying simultaneously. Grace's hands came up to his chest, and for a moment, he thought she would push him away. Instead, her fingers curled into his shirt, pulling him closer. The kiss deepened, years of unspoken tension igniting into something fierce and desperate. They broke apart, both breathing hard. Grace's eyes were wide, vulnerable in a way he had never seen before. We can't do this, she said, but her hands were still fisted in his shirt. Your family. My family owes you everything. Your grandmother literally told me to stay in the shadows. Then we'll step into the light. Together. Grace laughed, but it came out more like a sob. You don't understand what you're asking. The media, the public, your business partners, they'll destroy me. They'll call me a gold digger, a manipulator. They'll say I seduced you, that I orchestrated this entire situation to trap you. Let them talk. I'll fight anyone who dares to disrespect you. You can't fight the whole world, Jinwoo. Watch me. He kissed her again, softer this time, trying to pour every unspoken apology and promise into it. Grace made a small sound, somewhere between surrender and resistance, and then she was kissing him back with equal intensity. When they finally separated, Grace rested her forehead against his. This is insane. Completely. Your grandmother will have a heart attack. Probably. The board will revolt. Let them. Grace pulled back, her expression conflicted. I need time. I need to think about this without you standing in front of me making it impossible to be rational. Take all the time you need. But don't leave. Please don't leave. She looked at her suitcase, then back at him. Finally, she nodded. 1 week. I'll stay for 1 week. But I'm not making any promises beyond that. Relief flooded through him. 1 week. I'll take it. As Grace unpacked her suitcase, Jinwoo left the servants' quarters with his mind racing. He had 1 week to prove to her that this could work, that they could overcome the obstacles, that his feelings were real and lasting. But first, he needed answers. He needed to understand exactly what his grandmother had done and why. Are you absolutely riveted by this forbidden romance? Then you need to subscribe right now and hit that like button, because what happens next will blow your mind. Comment below whether you think Grace should give Jinwoo a chance or leave for good. Jinwoo found his grandmother in the main house, sitting in her private meditation room surrounded by incense and photographs of ancestors. She looked older than he remembered, more fragile, but her eyes were still sharp when she looked up at him. "Grandmother, we need to talk about Grace." The old woman sighed. "I thought you might come. Sit, Jinwoo." He sat, but his posture was rigid. "Is it true? Did you tell her to hide her education to pretend to be just a housekeeper?" His grandmother's hands trembled slightly as she poured tea. "Your mother made me promise to take care of Grace after she died. But I knew the family wouldn't accept her as she was. An educated African woman in our inner circle, the whispers, the judgment, the scandal." She shook her head. "I was trying to protect her, and protect our reputation." "You were protecting yourself," Jinwoo said coldly. "You were ashamed." "Yes." The admission came out quietly, weighted with decades of cultural conditioning. "I was ashamed. And I was wrong. Watching her today in that courtroom, seeing what she sacrificed for us, I realized I made a terrible mistake. I asked her to erase herself to make us comfortable. What kind of gratitude is that?" Jinwoo softened slightly. At least she was being honest. "She's planning to leave." "I know. I wouldn't blame her if she did. I'm going to ask her to stay. Officially, as a member of our company. As..." He hesitated. "As someone important to me. Personally." His grandmother's eyes widened. "Jinwoo, are you saying..." "I have feelings for her, grandmother. Real feelings. And before you tell me all the reasons why it's impossible, I don't want to hear it. I've spent my entire life doing what was expected, marrying who was appropriate, following the path laid out for me. And where did it get me? Engaged to a woman who abandoned me the moment things got difficult. Framed for crimes I didn't commit. Nearly losing everything. Grace saved you. Grace has been saving me for years. I was just too blind to see it." He met his grandmother's gaze firmly. "I'm going to pursue this, with or without the family's blessing. But I would rather have your support." The old woman was quiet for a long moment, her weathered fingers tracing the rim of her teacup. "Your mother would have loved this, you know. She always believed Grace was special. She used to tell me, that girl has a fire in her that will change our family someday. I thought she was being sentimental. I didn't realize she was being prophetic. So you'll support us?" "I'll try. But Jinwoo, you must understand the path ahead will not be easy. Society can be cruel. The media will be merciless. Are you prepared for that? Is it, Grace? We'll face it together." His grandmother nodded slowly. "Then you have my blessing. But you also have my warning. Prove to her that you're worthy of her sacrifice. That girl gave up her identity for this family. Don't make her regret it." Over the next week, Jinwoo devoted himself to making good on his promise. He started by calling an emergency board meeting at Jin Corporation. Grace attended not as a housekeeper, but seated at the table in a sharp business suit Jinwoo had his sister help her pick out. The board members' faces were priceless, confusion giving way to shock as Jinwoo announced Grace's new position as Special Advisor for Corporate Ethics and Forensic Analysis. "This is highly irregular," one of the older board members sputtered. She has no experience. She has degrees from Yonsei University in forensic accounting and corporate law, Jinwoo interrupted. She uncovered an embezzlement scheme that our entire legal and financial departments missed. She saved this company from collapse. If that's not experience, I don't know what is. Another board member, a woman in her 50s, leaned forward. But how do we know we can trust her? No offense, Miss Mensah, but you've been working here under false pretenses for years. Grace met the woman's gaze calmly. I worked here under the pretenses I was required to maintain. Your former chairman's wife asked me to protect this family, and that's exactly what I did. If you can't trust someone who has proven their loyalty through actions rather than words, then perhaps the problem lies with your judgment, not my character. The room fell silent. Then, slowly, the female board member smiled. I like her. She stays. The vote was close, but Grace's appointment was approved. As they left the boardroom, Jinwoo caught her hand briefly. "See, told you it would work out." "That was one battle," Grace murmured. "There are 1,000 more ahead." She was right. The media got wind of the story within days. Heir falls for family Maid screamed the headlines. "Cinderella story or calculated con?" asked another. Grace's photo appeared on every news site and gossip blog, dissected and analyzed. Some articles were sympathetic, praising her intelligence and skill. Others were vicious, calling her a seductress, a social climber, making thinly veiled racist comments about her appearance and background. Jinwoo wanted to sue every single publication, but Grace stopped him. "You can't fight perception with lawsuits. We have to show them who I really am through actions, not reactions." So they did. Grace threw herself into her new role with the same intensity she had brought to her investigation. She reformed Jin Corporation's financial oversight systems, implemented new ethics training, and personally reviewed every major contract for irregularities. Within a month, she had saved the company 15 billion won in potential fraud losses. The business press started writing different headlines. Grace Mensah, the financial genius Jin Corporation didn't know they had. But it was during the company's annual charity gala that everything changed. The event was held at a 5-star hotel in Seoul, attended by the city's elite business leaders, politicians, celebrities. Grace attended as Jinwoo's official date, wearing a stunning emerald gown that made her look like royalty. They entered together, and the room fell silent. Jinwoo felt Grace's hand tighten on his arm, but she kept her head high, her smile serene. They made their way through the crowd, enduring the stares and whispers. Some people greeted them warmly. Others turned away, their disapproval obvious. They were standing by the champagne fountain when Yuna appeared, her expression icy. "Jinwoo, can we talk privately? Anything you have to say, you can say in front of Grace." Yuna's smile was sharp. "Fine. I just wanted to congratulate you on your new relationship. It's very progressive of you. I'm sure the novelty will wear off eventually." Grace's expression didn't change, but Jinwoo felt her stiffen beside him. Before he could respond, she spoke, her voice carrying clearly. "Novelty is that what you think this is? Let me tell you something, Yuna. I spent 8 years watching you treat Jinwoo like an accessory, something to show off at parties and leverage for your family's business interests. You didn't love him. You loved what he represented. So don't stand here and insult what we have when you never bothered to understand what love actually means." Several nearby guests had stopped to listen, phones out, recording. Yuna's face flushed red. "How dare you? I dare because I'm not afraid of you anymore. I'm not afraid of any of you." Grace's voice rose, addressing the entire room now. I know what you all think. You think I'm a gold digger. You think I manipulated Jinwoo. You think I don't belong in your world. And you know what, you're right about one thing: I don't belong in your world. Because your world is built on appearances and prejudice and measuring people's worth by their last names and bank accounts. I don't want to belong to that. The room was completely silent now, everyone watching. But I do belong with Jinwoo. Because we see each other as equals. Because we respect each other's strengths and support each other's weaknesses. Because when his world was falling apart, I was the one who fought to save it, not out of obligation or expectation of reward, but because I care about him. So judge me all you want. Write your articles, spread your gossip, make your assumptions. I'm done caring what people who don't matter think about my life. She turned to Jinwoo, her eyes fierce and beautiful. And I'm done pretending I don't love you. The admission hung in the air between them. Jinwoo felt his heart stop, restart, then race forward. Grace. I love you, she repeated, louder this time. I've probably loved you for longer than I should have, longer than was smart or safe. But I'm tired of hiding it. I'm tired of hiding, period. Jinwoo didn't care about the cameras or the crowd or the scandal this would cause. He pulled Grace into his arms and kissed her in front of everyone, deep and passionate and completely unashamed. When they broke apart, the room erupted, some people clapping, others gasping, phones flashing everywhere. I love you too, Jinwoo said against her lips. I should have said it sooner. I should have seen you sooner. But I see you now, Grace Mensah, and I'm never looking away again. As they left the gala together, hand in hand, ignoring the chaos they'd created, Jinwoo felt lighter than he had in years. Let them talk. Let them judge. He had finally found something real. But their happiness was short-lived. 3 days later, a package arrived at Jinwoo's office. No return address, just his name typed on a plain label. Inside was a USB drive and a single sheet of paper with a typed message: if you want to know the real reason Grace Mensah came to Korea, watch this. The truth about your mother's death isn't what you think. Jinwoo's blood ran cold. He immediately called Grace to his office. When she arrived, he showed her the package, and the color drained from her face. Jinwoo, whatever is on that drive. We're watching it together. His voice was firm but not unkind. No more secrets, Grace. You said you loved me. Prove it by trusting me with the truth. With shaking hands, Grace inserted the USB drive into his computer. A video file appeared, dated 8 years ago. Jinwoo clicked play. The footage was grainy, clearly from a security camera. It showed a hospital room, his mother's hospital room during her final days. In the video, his mother lay in bed, frail and weak, and 4 in her arm. Grace sat beside her, younger, her face streaked with tears. Promise me, his mother's voice came through the speakers, weak but insistent. Promise me you'll watch over them, Grace. Promise me you'll find out the truth. I promise, Mrs. Jin. But you have to tell me, are you sure, are you absolutely sure it wasn't just the cancer? His mother's face hardened. I'm certain. Someone poisoned me, Grace. Slowly, over months. The cancer masked it, but I know. I can feel it. I've seen the evidence, financial records that don't add up, meetings I wasn't supposed to know about, threats I ignored. Someone in my family wants me gone. Jinwoo's hands gripped the edge of his desk, his knuckles white. Poisoned, his mother thought she was being poisoned on the screen. Grace was crying harder now. Then we have to tell the police, we have to. No. His mother cut her off. I don't know who I can trust. It could be anyone, my husband, my brother-in-law, even my own mother. The only person I trust is you, Grace. You're not part of this world. You have no agenda except the truth. Promise me you'll find it. Promise me you'll protect my children. I promise. I swear on my mother's grave, I'll find who did this to you. The video ended. Jinwoo sat frozen, his mind unable to process what he had just seen. His mother, poisoned by someone in their own family, and Grace had known Grace had been investigating his mother's death this entire time. He looked at Grace, who was standing by the window, her back to him, her shoulders shaking. You knew, he said, his voice hollow. You've known for 8 years that my mother was murdered, and you never told me. I didn't have proof, Grace whispered. Just her suspicions. I've been looking, Jinwoo, I swear I've been looking for evidence, but whoever did it was careful. The cancer diagnosis was real, that's not in question. But she was right that someone was making it worse, accelerating her death. I just haven't been able to prove who. If this story has you on the edge of your seat, absolutely desperate to know what happens next, you have to subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that notification bell because this family's secrets go deeper than anyone imagined, and you won't want to miss a single revelation. Drop a like if you're Team Grace. Jinwoo stood up, pacing, trying to organize his thoughts through the storm of emotions. Grief. Rage. Betrayal. Confusion. So everything, your job as a housekeeper, getting close to the family, even. He couldn't say it. Even us. Grace spun around, her eyes wide with hurt. No. God, no, Jinwoo. My feelings for you are real. They were never part of the plan. They were actually the worst thing that could have happened because they complicated everything. You think I wanted to fall in love with you while investigating your family for murder? I don't know what to think anymore. My mother is dead, not from cancer alone but from murder. You've been lying to me for 8 years. How do I know anything you've told me is real? Because I just gave up my anonymity for you. Grace's voice cracked. I just declared my love for you in front of Seoul's entire elite, knowing it would make me a target. I destroyed any chance I had of investigating quietly. I sacrificed the mission for you, Jinwoo. If that's not real, I don't know what is. They stared at each other across the office, the weight of secrets and loss crushing down on both of them. Finally, Jinwoo spoke, his voice barely audible. Who sent this video? I don't know. Someone who wants us to know the truth. Or someone who wants to destabilize the family further. Grace wiped her eyes. But whoever it is, they just escalated things. We can't hide anymore. We have to find your mother's killer before they realize we're getting close. And if the killer is someone I love, my grandmother, my father. Grace walked over to him, taking his hands in hers. Then we'll face that truth together. But Jinwoo, I need you to trust me. I know I should have told you sooner. I know I kept too many secrets. But everything I did to protect you and honor your mother's last wish. Can you forgive me? Jinwoo looked into her eyes, seeing the desperation there, the love and the pain and the fierce determination. Despite everything, despite the lies and the secrets and the impossible situation, he knew one thing with absolute certainty: Grace had given up more for his family than anyone had a right to ask. I forgive you, he said quietly. But no more secrets. From now on, we're partners in this. Equal partners. You tell me everything. Everything, Grace agreed. Starting with the fact that I think your cousin Jinho's embezzlement scheme was connected to your mother's death. The money he stole was being funneled somewhere, and I think I'm close to finding out where. Then let's find out together. As they stood in his office, hands clasped, a new chapter beginning, neither of them noticed the small red light blinking in the corner of the room, a camera, recently installed, recording everything. In a luxury apartment across the city, an elegant figure watched the live feed on a laptop screen, a cold smile spreading across their face. So, Grace Mensah, you finally revealed yourself. How convenient. Now I know exactly who to eliminate next. The screen went black. Jinwoo and Grace spent the next 2 weeks working in secret, following the money trail from Jinho's embezzlement. What they discovered was more horrifying than either could have imagined. The funds had been transferred to an offshore account belonging to a pharmaceutical company that specialized in creating untraceable poisons designed to mimic natural diseases. The company's client list was encrypted, but Grace's forensic skills eventually cracked it. One name appeared repeatedly in transactions dating back 9 years, Jin Seo-jun, Jinwoo's uncle. His father's younger brother. Jinwoo felt sick. Uncle Seo-jun had always been kind to him, had attended every family gathering, and had given him advice about business and life. How could he have killed his own sister-in-law? We need to confront him, Grace said, her voice hard. But carefully. If he realizes we know, he could run or destroy evidence. They planned the confrontation for the family's monthly dinner, held at the mansion. Everyone would be there: Jinwoo's father, his grandmother, his sister, and Uncle Seo-jun. Grace would attend openly now, not as a servant but as Jinwoo's partner and advisor. The dinner started normally enough, with polite conversation about business and weather. But as the main course was served, Jinwoo stood, his wine glass in hand. "I'd like to make a toast," he said, his voice carrying across the table. "To my family. To loyalty. To the people who would do anything to protect those they love, and to those who would do anything to destroy them." The table fell silent. Uncle Seo-jun looked up from his plate, his expression carefully neutral. "That's quite a toast, Jinwoo. Is there something specific you want to say?" "Actually, yes." Jinwoo pulled out a folder, sliding it across the table to his uncle. "I want to talk about these financial records. The ones showing that you've been paying a pharmaceutical company to produce undetectable poisons for the past 9 years. The same company my mother's medical team should have tested for but somehow never did. Strange coincidence, don't you think?" Uncle Seo-jun's face paled. Jinwoo's father stood up abruptly. "What are you talking about, Seo-jun? What is this?" "It's nothing," Uncle Seo-jun said quickly. "This is obviously some kind of mistake." "It's not a mistake." Grace stood now, her voice calm and authoritative. "I have bank statements, email correspondence, and testimony from 3 employees at the pharmaceutical company. You ordered a compound designed to accelerate cancer growth while leaving minimal traces. You administered it to Mrs. Jin over a period of 6 months, ensuring her death would look natural. The only question is why." Jinwoo's grandmother gasped, clutching her chest. His sister started crying. His father looked like he might be sick. But Uncle Seo-jun just sat there, his face unreadable. Then, slowly, he started to laugh. "You're smarter than I gave you credit for, Grace. I underestimated you. That was my mistake." "Why?" Jinwoo's voice shook with rage and grief. "Why did you kill her? She was your family." "Because she was going to destroy everything." Uncle Seo-jun slammed his hand on the table. "Your mother found out about my debts, about the deals I made to keep my lifestyle. She was going to expose me, ruin me, cut me off from the family fortune. I built this company as much as anyone else, but because I wasn't the firstborn, I got nothing, just a salary and a title, while your father and you inherited everything. So you murdered her, Grace said flatly. And when Jinwoo was accused of embezzlement, you probably thought it was perfect, you could frame him, eliminate another obstacle to your inheritance. I didn't frame him. That was Jinho's stupidity, not my plan. Though I certainly wasn't going to stop it. Uncle Seo-jun stood, his composure cracking. But it doesn't matter now. You have no proof that will hold up in court. Circumstantial evidence, at best. And even if you did, do you think this family will let you drag our name through another public trial through a murder accusation? The scandal would destroy Jin Corporation forever. Jinwoo's father spoke, his voice trembling. Seo-jun, brother, tell me this isn't true. Tell me you didn't. It's true, Hyung. Uncle Seo-jun's face was cold now, all pretense gone. And I'd do it again. Your wife was going to ruin everything I worked for. She had to be stopped. The confession hung in the air, damning and final. Jinwoo's father collapsed back into his chair, looking decades older. The grandmother wept silently. Grace pulled out her phone, and Uncle Seo-jun's eyes narrowed. You recorded this conversation. Every word, Grace confirmed. And it's already uploaded to a secure server with instructions to send it to the police if anything happens to me or Jinwoo. You're done. Uncle Seo-jun's face twisted with rage. In one swift motion, he grabbed a knife from the table and lunged at Grace. Jinwoo moved without thinking, throwing himself between them. The blade sliced across his arm, and blood bloomed on his white shirt. Security guards rushed in. Jinwoo had positioned them outside the dining room, anticipating violence. They wrestled Uncle Seo-jun to the ground as he screamed obscenities, all composure shattered. The police arrived minutes later, having been called by Grace before dinner even started. As they led Uncle Seo-jun away in handcuffs, still ranting, Jinwoo's father finally broke down, sobbing into his hands. Grace immediately turned to Jinwoo, examining his wound. We need to get you to a hospital. I'm fine. It's just a scratch. You literally took a knife for me. Yeah, well. He managed a weak smile despite the pain. Told you I'd fight anyone who tried to hurt you. At the hospital, as a doctor stitched Jinwoo's arm, his grandmother entered the room. She looked older, more fragile, but her eyes were clear. She walked directly to Grace and, to everyone's shock, bowed deeply, a gesture of profound respect. Forgive me, the old woman said, her voice breaking. Forgive me for making you hide. For being ashamed of you. For not seeing your worth. You brought justice for my daughter when the rest of us were too blind to see the truth. You protected my grandson with your own life. You are more family than blood could ever make you. Grace's eyes filled with tears. She helped the grandmother stand, then embraced her. I forgive you. And I'm honored to be part of this family, if you'll truly have me. Not just you. We need you. The grandmother pulled back, taking both Grace's and Jinwoo's hands. Both of you. This family needs your strength, your integrity, your love for each other. Promise me you'll rebuild what we've lost. We promise, grandmother, Jinwoo said, pulling Grace close with his good arm. 3 months later, Jin Corporation held a press conference. Jinwoo stood at the podium, Grace beside him, both dressed in professional attire. Behind them, a new logo was displayed: Jin Corporation, redesigned to include subtle patterns inspired by Ghanaian Kent cloth, symbolizing the family's new commitment to diversity and inclusion. Today, we announce several changes to Jin Corporation's leadership, Jinwoo began. Effective immediately, Grace Mensah will serve as our CEO, bringing her expertise in forensic analysis, corporate ethics, and strategic planning to guide our company into a new era. We're also establishing the Jin Mensah Foundation, dedicated to supporting African and Korean students pursuing education in business and law. Finally, we're implementing comprehensive reforms to our corporate governance, ensuring that what happened to this family and to my mother never happens again. The press erupted with questions, but Jinwoo raised his hand in silence. I know many of you have questioned my relationship with Grace, have speculated about her motives and character. Let me be clear, Grace Mensah is the most principled, brilliant, and courageous person I've ever known. She sacrificed her identity and endured years of prejudice to honor a promise to a dying woman. She solved crimes our entire legal team couldn't crack. She literally saved my life. And yes, I love her. If that makes me unconventional or controversial, so be it. I'd rather be authentic and criticized than appropriate and hollow. Grace took the microphone, her voice steady and strong. I want to speak directly to young women of color who might be watching this. You don't have to make yourself smaller to fit into spaces that weren't built for you. You don't have to hide your brilliance or dim your light to make others comfortable. Yes, the path will be harder. Yes, people will doubt you. But your worth isn't determined by their acceptance. It's determined by your character, your work, and your refusal to let prejudice define your potential. Be excellent. Be undeniable. And most importantly, be yourself. The applause was thunderous. As they left the press conference, hands intertwined, Grace leaned close to Jinwoo. You know this isn't over, right? There are still board members who resent me. Still investors who think I'm unqualified. Still challenges ahead, Jinwoo finished. I know. But we've faced worse. Together, Grace agreed, squeezing his hand. That evening, they stood on the balcony of Jinwoo's penthouse, looking out over Seoul's glittering skyline. The city that had once seemed so unwelcoming to Grace now felt different, not perfect, not without its battles, but possible. Do you ever regret it? Jinwoo asked quietly. Giving up 8 years of your life to protect my family? Grace considered the question carefully. I regret the circumstances that made it necessary. I regret that your grandmother felt she had to hide me. I regret every moment I had to pretend to be less than I was. But I don't regret the outcome. Because it led me here, to you, to this moment. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. Jinwoo pulled her close, kissing her temple. I love you, Grace Mensah. My partner. My equal. My salvation. I love you too, Jinwoo. My stubborn, privileged, surprisingly brave CEO. She smiled against his chest. Though you really need to work on noticing important people sooner. Hey, I noticed you eventually. 8 years later. Better late than never. Grace laughed, the sound free and genuine in a way it hadn't been for years. For the first time since arriving in Korea, she felt truly seen, truly valued, truly home. But as they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, neither of them saw the figure watching from a car across the street. A woman with cold eyes and a bitter expression, her phone pressed to her ear. Yes, I see them, Yuna said into the phone, her voice venomous. The happy couple. Don't worry, I've already started spreading the rumors about the foundation. By the time I'm done, everyone will think it's just a money laundering scheme. Grace Mensah won't know what hit her. She hung up and drove away, her plans for revenge already forming. Because while Jinwoo and Grace had defeated one enemy, they had unknowingly created another. And Yuna had connections, resources, and a wounded pride that made her dangerous. The battle for Jin Corporation was over, but the war for its future was just beginning. That story was absolutely incredible, wasn't it? If you loved following Jinwoo and Grace's journey, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and that you've hit the like button. We have so many more explosive family dramas coming your way, and you won't want to miss a single one. Drop a comment and let me know where you are watching this from in the comments below.